Welcome to SVG-TV News for Tuesday, May 24th, 2022. I am Rochelle Batiste with the details. The Ministry of the Public Service, Consumer Affairs and Sports today launched the Employee Assistance Program and Unit. The ceremony took place at the Methodist Church Hall, following which there was the cutting of the ribbon to the units located on the second floor of the St. Vincent Automotive Building in Rose Place, Kingstown. Addressing the launching ceremony at the Methodist Church Hall, Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of the Public Service, Consumer Affairs and Sports, Raymond Ryan, told the gathering public servants are under great scrutiny, which increases the need for them to perform well and give of their best under more stressful conditions. While noting that employee performance can never remain constant, Ryan said the ministry recognizes employees' physical and mental wellness are linked to their performance. Hence, the public sector reform has been initiated, and emphasis placed on the continued development of an employee assistance program. He provided some information on the work put in to develop the program and the unit, which he said are needed at this time.
During the fiscal year 2020, the Public Sector Reform Unit procured a consultant to develop the necessary framework for the Employee Assistance Program and its unit, to prepare the relevant policy documents, a communication plan, training manuals, and to deliver training to EAP counselors, heads of departments, and supervisors. A coordinator was also appointed to guide logistical work associated with the EAP establishment. A location to house the EAP was identified and retrofitted to ensure that an environment was created which is conducive to the delivery of counseling services.
Ryan said the Employee Assistance Program will be catering to all public servants whose job performance is negatively affected by personal or professional struggles.
Short-term counseling will be provided in the following areas: marital, family, and relationship problems, substance abuse and other addictive behaviors, financial management problems, stress, family violence, mental and emotional problems, work-related conflicts, and bereavement. These services are available to the public servant and his or her immediate family members. Public servants can call or walk in to make appointments, or they can be referred to the unit by the head of department or the permanent secretary.
The PS pointed out that in the past, non-performance were transferred from one unit to the other or from one department or ministry to the other, with the hope that a change in the work environment will bring about the desired change in performance. He said while this worked in some cases, in others it didn't, and the problem was transferred from one place to another. He said in cases where it did not work, it was recognized that problem requires a deeper analysis, and the EAP is expected to conduct the analysis required to facilitate the provisions of assistance needed by the employee, with the anticipation that the employee's performance will improve.
The Ministry of the Public Service cannot do it alone, and various ministries and departments have a vital role to play in the successful implementation of the Employee Assistance Program. The EAP is a confidential workplace, and confidential is one of our watchwords. That is free to all employees. An EAP is commonly the most overlooked yet valuable benefit offered by any organization, large or small. Supervisors must help us to carry the message of the EAP, handling each case with sensitivity help to dispel the stigma that is sometimes associated with counseling and ensure the strictest confidentiality.
Minister of the Public Service, Consumer Affairs and Sports, Frederick Stevenson, thanked the stakeholders whom he said tirelessly worked to see the Employee Assistance Program and unit realized.
We are now experiencing the fruits of our labor. The victory of the dream of the EAP is being realized today, and I want to thank our public servants who have worked very hard in this way. The government of St. Vincent and the Grenadines has been on board with an employee assistance program since the conception of the idea almost 5 years ago. Not only as a result of fulfilling its national mandate and commitment to foster and maintain the productivity and well-being of all public servants, but also as it greatly values its human resources. The government recognizes that it is possible in the work environment to identify employees with problems. And to this end, the government of St. Vincent and the Grenadines makes available to every employee within the public service a confidential and voluntary employee assistance program without prejudice to their job security or career progression.
Minister Stevenson said the EAP unit is an appropriate and much needed to respond to the psychological, mental and emotional needs of employees, which may affect their ability to perform efficiently on the job.
Although the Employee Assistance Program is new here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, as I mentioned before, it has been in existence in a number of our neighboring islands for several years now, and is also making great strides in developed countries. After much research and consultation, it became clear that having an EAP here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines is pivotal to the continued development and growth of our beloved nation and our citizens. An employee assistance program is a management support program that recognizes that there can be extraneous factors that may detract employees from performing their best in the workplace. The services are geared to help mitigate the effects of employees' personal problems on their workplace engagement, happiness, and overall productivity.
He said the main objective of the EAP is to offer confidential and professional assistance to employees who are unable to effectively function on the job and essentially help mitigate the adverse effects that are hindering productivity.
I know that you will agree with me that we are indeed heading in the right direction with this program. We are aware of some or have some point experienced issues that would have affected our work life. I am proud to say today that now we have an avenue in which we can get these resolved or managed so that we can function effectively and efficiently as public servants. Additionally, there are a number of benefits that can be derived from establishing an employee assistance program. These include improvement of engagement and productivity of public servants, increased morale, improved health of the employee, and reduction in absenteeism and turnover. These benefits have a rippling effect which will positively impact the public service and the way public servants perform their duties, as once there is improvement in individuals, this will result in a transformation of the public service.
Minister Stevenson used the opportunity to urge all public servants to access the services of the unit, which he said is ideally located, affording public servants their right to privacy.
I urge heads of departments and permanent secretaries to be vigilant in identifying and informing employees of the need of the assistance of the unit and the services that are provided. I'm also encouraging that they too access these services voluntarily, set the right examples for other employees, and normalize seeking assistance when the stress of life becomes unbearable. Congratulations and all the best as we work towards realizing the theme under which we are celebrating preparing the way for a better and more productive public service. Today, again,
Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonsalves, who delivered remarks at the ceremony and spoke of the improvements made by his government to develop the public service and improve the life of public servants, urged all public servants to utilize the services of the EAP unit.
And feel confident to go to it because it's staffed properly, it has people counseling. And you have a good woman who's heading it, Andrea Hazel. Contrary to what they would think, that because Ralph was involved in this from the, it's today, when I came here, that I know that Andrea is heading the unit. I don't have to know who. All I want to know is somebody good heading it. And I know this is a good woman. She has a good temperament. She's an experienced public servant. And I think she will serve the unit and serve the public servant well. I know a long time. And if they ask me my opinion, I'd say yes. I'm glad they didn't ask me my opinion, and they did it without my opinion, and they've done very well.
In other news now, a delegation headed by Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonsalves will leave the state tomorrow, Wednesday, May 25th, 2022, for the Republic of Cuba. While there, the Prime Minister will be part of the ALBA Summit and also participate in a series of bilateral meetings. There will also be activities to commemorate the 30th anniversary of diplomatic ties between St. Vincent and the Grenadines and Cuba. Prime Minister Gonsalves spoke a bit on his visit to Cuba on radio on Sunday.
That's the 25th. Friday the 27th is the 30th anniversary of the diplomatic relations between our two countries. And on that day, the 27th, we are having a summit of the leaders from ALBA.
Okay.
Which means the governments of Cuba, Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela, Nicaragua, Bolivia, and all the independent countries of the OECS. I don't know if we're going to have leaders from all of them or we'll have foreign ministers, but I'm certainly going because there are matters also which I have to deal with on the 26th. That is to say, bilateral matters with the Cuban government. And on the 27th, we'll have the ALBA Summit.
Among the Prime Minister's delegation to Cuba is his wife, Eloise Gonsalves, Minister of Education, Curtis King, Permanent Secretary Angie Jackson, Cultural Ambassador Rodney Small, and Security Personnel Gregory Lohman. St. Vincent and the Grenadines and the Republic of Cuba established diplomatic ties on May 26, 1992. President of the Indian Heritage Foundation, Junior Bacchus, said the recent visit to SVG by the President of the Republic of India, Sher Ram Nath Kovind, his family and other members of his delegation was very productive. Several activities were held as part of the visit, including a catamaran tour to Waliabu on the leeward side of the island, a signing ceremony of a memoranda of understanding on automatic exchange of information and assistance in collection of taxes on health and medicine, a tree planting ceremony at the Botanical Gardens of an India White Sandalwood, a special sitting of the House of Assembly addressed by President Kovind, renaming of Calder Road to India Drive, a state banquet hosted by the Governor General of SVG, Her Excellency Dame Susan Duggan and Mr. Duggan, a tour of new developments on Canoan in the Grenadines, and cocktails at La View Hotel, a reception hosted by Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonsalves and his wife Eloise Gonsalves. Bacchus told SVGTV News today the bond between SVG and India was strengthened, especially at the cultural celebration and the renaming of the Calder Road.
The event in Calder was what we helped to put together, and that, from all the feedback I got, that was a very good event. We had the naming of the Calder Road, India Drive, that happened at that event. We had the President of India, the Prime Minister, the Deputy Prime Minister, and other officials all being part of that event, including some cultural pieces from Saeed Bowman and the children of the Calder School. I was really impressed with those children who performed at Calder during the visit of the President.
Bacchus used the opportunity to thank all who contributed in making the renaming of Calder Road to India Drive a success.
Well, I just want to extend my own appreciation to all the people who came out to the cultural activity in Calder, which was occasioned by the visit of the President. I want to thank the, in particular, Mrs. Pauline Marks, who assisted there in allowing our premises to be used, the Calder Seventh-day Adventist Church, who also facilitated it, and Mrs. Batiste, Alina Batiste, who was the one who went to help with the unveiling of the road. Those are some of our very strong supporters out in the Calder area, and all the persons who travel from wherever the universities. There's a large contingent from the universities, Dr. J and the other many Indian doctors who are here who came out. We really appreciate it, and we look forward to continuing this collaboration with the community.
The SVG Police Force, through a statement from the Commissioner of Police in his capacity as Chairman of the Transport Board, has shut down claims of an increase in bus fares. The force said it is aware of the circulation of a document on social media with the caption St. Vincent and the Grenadines authorized minibus fares as of June 1st, 2022. However, the purported increase is not authorized by the Transport Board. The Transport Board consists of Commissioner of Police as Chairman, the Chief Engineer, and 5 other members. It was pointed out in the statement from the Commissioner of Police that the board appointed by the Governor General shall act in an advisory capacity and should advise the Governor General on all matters pertaining to road transport and traffic, and in particular as to the following matters: transport rates, fares, tolls, dues, or other charges. The statement from the Commissioner ended by saying, in the interest of clarity on this matter, I wish to inform the public that the purported increase in bus fares is not authorized. Condemning the violence taking place in SVG, Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonsalves on radio on Sunday noted that the youth are sometimes influenced by the violence they watch on television and on social media. The Prime Minister described the recent acts of violence against women and the youth in the country as senseless.
The senselessness of the chopping up of this young lady. We don't know yet who is the culprit. I know the police are carrying out investigations, and I know who they have detained and so on and so forth, because these things are reported to me in my capacity as Prime Minister and Minister of National Security. But that one is utterly senseless. Totally. Look at where you have fellas playing football at Calico. You have an altercation on the field. The game is brought prematurely to an end. Some leave one village and go to another village. Shoot two of them, one of them dead. I understand that on Montrose, you had some altercation between some persons 2 or 3 weeks ago. The vanity and the personal egos and all the rest of it have one said going looking for another. I'm talking about that information has come to me now.
Yes.
Now, these things are just utterly without any rhyme or reason. And that is why the broad analysis which you all were giving earlier, I'm in agreement with it. And by the way, I should...
Commenting on the recent decision made by the Mercy Committee to offer clemency to a 31-year-old mother of Park Hill who was jailed for 38 months for possession of an unlicensed firearm, PM Gonsalves said the decision was not made to provide any inconsistency with the prevalence of guns in the country.
Quote-unquote show mercy to this particular young lady. The Committee of Mercy found in this particular circumstance on the facts before them, that it was an appropriate case to exercise mercy and to impose the conditions of the release for that particular young lady. On the violence issues, it's a complicated question. The guns that come in, for instance, they come out of the United States of America largely, the guns and the bullets. And the American government doesn't really make it difficult. The American legal system, it doesn't make it difficult for persons to get guns. They have the Second Amendment, the right to bear arms and all that. And the guns move, and we intercept a certain number of them. But we have so many bays and keys, and this is a situation for all the countries in the Caribbean, that some of the guns get through, and sometimes we pick them up even while they're on the island itself, when they're in the country.
Noting that serious action must be taken to deal with violence in the society, PM Gonzalez made reference to the recent Privy Council ruling in Trinidad and Tobago that the death penalty will remain on the country's statute books as a punishment for murder.
Recent decision of the Privy Council in relation to Trinidad, where the Privy Council has on this occasion confirmed that the death penalty in its mandatory aspect is constitutional, contrary to an earlier position, and certainly the position that came out of our own Court of Appeal, and an earlier position, and certainly the position that came out of our own Court of Appeal, and at the CCJ. And of course, there are many persons who feel quite strongly, and some may say, in our circumstances, it is a matter which may be meritorious in the way in which they state it, that maybe the practical abolition of the death penalty probably has induced some persons to have less restraint in using violence of an ultimate kind. So that's a matter which increasingly we'll have to look at again.
As the Walvaroo community in East Kingston continues to mourn the death of 17-year-old Precious Williams, residents showed up in their numbers on Saturday evening for a candlelight vigil in support of Precious' friends and family. Ashford Peters of Caribbean Independent Broadcasting Service, CIBS, interviewed a number of persons at the vigil, including Precious' aunt, who expressed sadness by her death.
Really dumbfounded, and I heard it from Canada. My daughter, they told me, Mommy, this is not Precious, it's not Precious, because I didn't know Precious for a long time. I didn't see Precious. We tried to find out, we didn't know who had that thing, because she was adopted when she was small. Yes, and Precious, when I met her last year, she told me she would like to see her mother picture and her father picture. So I gave her the picture, and that is when I really get to know her good. Okay. And from then she's showed them so I tell her if she wants to come by me anytime, she can come, but it's so sad that she passed away.
Well, I normally meet Precious something with her mom, adopted mom, and say hi, and I mean auntie and stuff like that. And then I got the news at school. I was at work and I got the news of a decomposed body. We thought of it was somebody else.
Right.
Because we even was studying at the time to say it was somebody that we thought it was. But eventually we were there, and then my co-worker say, Cupid, this come and show you a picture of the girl. Before I go in the office, this is what I said, I hope it's not nobody for me. Wow. And then when I went in the office, the secretary, she showed me a picture. I said, that is Precious, that's my brother child. So when I come out the office now, I said, boy, how could somebody do this to her? You know, take a innocent life.
MP for East Kingston Fitzgerald Bramble, who was also present at the candlelight vigil, said that it is about time serious action is taken to deal with crime and violence in SVG.
You know, we keep talking every time something happens, everybody say, oh, we got to do something, but nothing is happening. And this is the time for something to happen. We need to start taking serious action against crime and violence in this country. There are lots of things that have to happen, but at the very least, the community of East Kingston, they've started by demonstrating their disagreement and their disgust with what's happening. and hopefully this would pick up momentum, and all of the different sectors, the schools, the churches, the homes, the communities, the government, the parliamentarians, civil society, the business sector, we all have our parts to play. We all have our roles to play. But the time for action is now. Too much talking. Everybody, every time something happens, people jump up, oh, you know, things are so bad and so on. But what are we doing?
One mother who was also at the vigil said parents need to be stricter with their children, especially girls, and not depend on the system to raise their children.
See what's going on in St. Vincent right now. Come on, it's children after children. It's generation after generation. I mean, we got to do something about this, you know. I mean, it's getting terrible. Organizing is part of it. The system is part of it. We as, okay, young parents, you know, and we have this young generation coming up. We brought them into this world, but we don't have the mind. But my thing is, why would a 12-year-old, 13, 14, 15, 17 years old be living with a man? And then we go to the police and then say they are up to age, they could give consent. That has been unfair to life. They can't vote. They cannot vote in this country. Why would they give consent? We have to do something about this. I have a 17-year-old daughter. I am going to change. Me, Debbie Labby, want to change the system in Sydney when it comes to my 17-year-old daughter.
The candlelight vigil in honor of Precious Williams came after her decomposed body was found stuffed in a bag in Richmond Hill on Thursday, May 12, 2022. Police on Tuesday, May 23rd, arrested and charged Vigil Clark, a 32-year-old domestic worker of Sandy Bay, with 4 counts of theft. The accused was charged with stealing over $200,000, the property of the government of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. The accused appeared before the Georgetown Magistrate Court today and pleaded not guilty to the charges. She was granted bail in the sum of $200,000 with one surety under the following conditions. A. Report to the Sandy Bay Police Station every Monday between 6 a.m. and 6 p.m. B. Surrender her travel documents to the court. C. Stop notices were placed at ports of entry and departure. The cases were adjourned to September 5th, 2022. In other news now, we hear that the Electrical Inspectorate Division of the Ministry of Transport and Works, Urban Development and Local Government on Monday, May 23rd, launched their Safety Awareness Program. The aim is to educate the public and consumers about the hazards associated with electricity and electrical safety in homes and working environment. 2 whistle stops, which will start at Fancy on the windward side of the island and Chateaubriand on the leeward side of the island and end in Kingston, was to kickstart the activities. Safety awareness forums will be held on Thursday and Friday at the different technical institutes around the country, with a week of activities climaxing with an exhibition at the old Treasury building site. The lunch on Monday held at the Ministry of Transport and Works Conference Room. Chief Electrical Inspectorate Hitlin Francis spoke of the current re-electrification program where homes are retrofitted with new and proper wiring for meeting proper safety standards. Francis emphasized that all this will be done for free for all of the household that meet the requirements. The retrofitting program forms part of the Renewal at 40 program, which started in 2020 as part of St. Vincent and the Grenadines' 40th anniversary of independence. The program, which was scheduled to run for 3 years, was successful in the first year. However, it was interrupted by year 2 by the eruption of La Soufrière volcano. Over 40 homes have already been retrofitted under the program. Francis also reminds the public that the department also certifies domestic installations for 10 years and commercial installations for 5 years, and urges property owners who have had their property certified before 2012 to come into the department and apply for re-inspection of their properties.